People always ask me, why did I create a miniature rock opera based on the myth of Theseus? And why turn it into a comic book? And what does Jerry Garcia have to do with it? Okay, maybe they don't ask me, but I ask myself, and this is the best explanation I could come up with. I've always loved the Greek myth of Theseus, the bastard son of the king, finally strong enough to lift the stone and inherit his father's sword. Aegis knocking the poison chalice from his hand when he recognizes Theseus as his son. Theseus volunteering to be sacrificed to Crete, the labyrinth, the Minotaur, Ariadne's twine, the overlooked black sails, and Aegis hurling himself into the sea, giving the Aegean its name. These Greek stories are so steeped in irony and destiny. I first tried to write a Theseus opera when I was 10. I got as far as a descending melodic line in Mixolydian mode, but I kept coming back to the idea, and eventually I did write my Theseus as a 9-minute Prague mini-rock opera, Theseus Rex. I updated the story to 60s Haight-Ashbury through post-9/11 Afghanistan. I made Theseus the bastard son of Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead. His Minotaur is a Taliban soldier in a cave in Tora Bora. Instead of the cliffs over the Aegean, it's the Golden Gate Bridge. And instead of Dad, it's Mom. Oh, plus Burning Man. The music came first with this song. And although it sounds nothing like the Grateful Dead, something in an early demo suggested Jerry Garcia's noodling guitar, and a story popped into my head of a one-night stand between a runaway flower child and young Jerry in the summer of love. The song grew from this opening riff. Setting lyrics to it proved to be a challenge because each line of the verse ends in 2 long, strong beats. Da da. I couldn't rhyme it with just any 2-syllable word like harking. It had to be 2 strong syllables right together. So I came up with a rhyme scheme where the last 2 syllables individually rhyme on all 4 lines. A quadruple double rhyme.
From the get-go, Junior is gone home with a faith in fathers the young know. Picks up Dad's guitar, all high strung though. Soon the high and mighty are brung low.
Needless to say, this rhyming constraint gave it a kind of formal tone, especially tricky when trying to tell a story. It also might have been what suggested something classic like a Greek myth. And of course, Greek myth to me meant Theseus, so I decided to see if I could somehow shoehorn Theseus into the summer of love. Form-wise, I was inspired by early Genesis concept albums and the sprawling song forms of prog rock. But in a very theatrical way, there's not only a narrator sung by me, but the other characters as well. Rhonda, sung by Tulasi Rain, Theseus, sung by Kai Adder, and the Colonel, sung by Rob Shapiro. Jerry, thankfully, is a non-singing role. The song starts with Rhonda, who's as much a protagonist as Theseus. She's an alienated kid growing up in Orange County until she discovers the counterculture.
Rhonda's living life at a standstill, born and bred on Anaheim landfill. Help is on a Grateful Dead handbill, promising a way out of Glanville.
In the first chorus, Rhonda meets Jerry backstage, and Eros shoots an arrow.
And it seems so easy and high, free love, give it a try. Still underage, passes backstage, there's a hero.
When Rhonda announces her pregnancy to Jerry, she does so in a new hymn-like section. And as with all these hymn-like sections throughout the song, there's an air of prophecy about it.
I shall bear your son, prepare him for his role, your heir and chosen one, when he subsumes your soul.
Later, when Theseus comes of age, filled with angst and longing for his idolized absent father, he puts together a Grateful Dead cover band to impress Jerry. And this is where we're first introduced to the sort of swashbuckling 6/8 theme that reappears throughout the song.
Theseus hits the stand, his Grateful Dead cover band plays with a nimble hand in the court of his father. When Jerry does not arrive, August of 95, turns out he's not alive. And Mountain Girl blames me.
After Jerry dies, Theseus is a bit lost, and he sets out in search of himself and his destiny by hiking along what's left of the old hippie trail through South Asia. He ends up in Afghanistan working on a poppy farm. Rhonda, a Bay Area anti-war mom, is keenly aware of the volatile situation in the country, and in a Middle Eastern flavored section, she begs Theseus to come home.
That land is full of woe, and evil is in power. Why did you have to go? I'll wait for you each hour.
Theseus reassures Rhonda that he's safe, but secretly he's pledged his allegiance to the Northern Alliance, the group fighting to overthrow the brutal Taliban. The American-led war against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban begins. In a heavy metal section in 7/8, the Colonel is first introduced as he hurls jingoistic epithets at the enemy, with curious allusions to Grateful Dead lyrics.
I'll get Afghanistan, I'll gotta hit again, kill me some Taliban, calling fire on the mountain.
Theseus gets a taste, Alexander lays waste, worst thing he's ever faced, taking refuge in the mountain.
As this asymmetrical warfare gets underway, the musical theme from the verse returns in an angular disguise, but still with those relentless A-B double rhymes.
Western armies battle the zeitgeist, massing in the name of the white Christ. Taliban are getting their fight ice, till their hopes are dashed and their minds slice.
In the fog of war, Theseus is mistaken for an American jihadi and taken prisoner by US forces. In fact, he's almost put to the waterboard, but when his shirt is ripped off and a Grateful Dead lightning skull tattoo is revealed, the colonel in charge, a deadhead himself, has a moment of clarity.
And when his tale is done, they gasp at what he said, that he's the bastard son, the son of the Grateful Dead.
As Theseus reenacts his ordeal of fighting a Taliban minotaur deep in a cave, the main theme returns, this time as a warped instrumental alternating bars of 21:16 and 4/4. This builds to a frenzy of 7 against 5, with a furious martial beat on the snare. After Theseus reveals his parentage and how he has fought valiantly for the Northern Alliance, the colonel takes Theseus under his wing and promises to get him home as quickly as possible.
Dude, is that really true? I've did it through and through. This lightning skull tattoo says you are my hero. You'll skip Guantanamo, where you were gonna go. Man, you don't wanna know, cause you are my hero. In honor of Jerome and his white chromosome, tell mom you're coming home, cause you are my hero.
Meanwhile, Rhonda, who's been desperately trying to contact Theseus for months, receives a terse message from the colonel that her son will be home soon. The colonel, trying to avoid red tape, sneaks Theseus aboard the earliest transport out of Afghanistan, a cargo plane filled with the caskets of dead American soldiers. The hymn theme returns as Rhonda waits at the Air Force Base.
And he comes back from war into the golden light to land on native shore.
Rhonda sees only caskets coming off the cargo plane, she is distraught and feels some dire prophecy has come true. Blaming herself, she heads to the Golden Gate Bridge and in despair hurls herself off.
Rhonda leaps off the Golden Gate.
In a coda set at Burning Man, the whole cast of characters is back to life, and they sing, like a Greek chorus, the moral of the story, about the futility of trying to be a hero.
Sometimes life delivers a cool treat, like a senseless bargain, some fool thing. When it cuts both ways like a dual blade, Ellen, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Usually my songs are self-contained. I don't like to vaguely hint at things and make the listener guess what the song is about. But with Theseus Rex, there was always so much more story than I could convey in the lyrics. I always imagined there being a visual component, something fanciful and melodramatic and extravagant, something that would fully tell the tale. So when I came upon the idea of a comic book, it was a eureka moment. A comic book that could serve as the basis for a music video as well. There's always a danger in music videos that the visuals will overwhelm and drown out the music. But I think there's a nice parallel between the stillness of an illustration and the masked actor in a Greek tragedy. A moment captured in time, allowing room for the voices and the music and the poetry to convey the drama.